Hi, I'm Dr. Chai, running for U.S. Congress in Connecticut's 1st District. And today I want to talk about something that's so important in the world of political messaging about how the midbrain is hijacked using brain science and fear. Have you ever been driving in your car and all of a sudden there's a spider on the window and you start freaking out and driving all over the place? Not that I would ever do that, but when I see a spider, my rational brain just stops working because there's a place in the brain called the midbrain. And this midbrain is linked through a small structure called the amygdala, where emotional responses like fear, predominate. And it's messy. What happens when a fear signal gets into your midbrain is it actually stops the signal from going all the way into the cortex, where you have all that reasoning and all that IQ and all that thinking. Because if I really thought about it, the spider's pretty harmless, and it's much more dangerous to crush my car than it is to have a little tiny spider fall on my lap. So the fear is a primitive survival instinct. And that's why they call it the midbrain, they call it the lizard brain, because it's a very ancient part of the brain. And it's messy. It doesn't require a lot of, critical thinking. It doesn't require any logic at all. The only thing it registers is danger, danger, danger. And you start to act and you start to react before your brain even has a chance to know about what you're facing. And we see that a lot with politics. In politics, we call it fear mongering. If there's something that's scary, a threat, maybe the other side of the aisle is just evil monsters that are slavering at the mouth, rabid, evil, immoral, terrible people who are probably going to burn you alive or whatever these people are going to do to you. That's a fear reaction. And that's a form of manipulation of your brain, because the political operatives know how psychology works. They know how the brain works. And they know that they can bypass your IQ and your reasoning by causing fear. And in fact, your brain will have a measurably lower IQ and less ability to work through a problem or do any kind of problem solving when fear has hit your amygdala and hit the midbrain. So ask yourself, when the politicians know the psychology of fear, what do you think they'll do? Do they want you to think real hard about what they're saying? Or do they want you to react? Now, it's normal to feel afraid sometimes, and that's okay. But if you're constantly getting a drumbeat of fear, 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 you're being manipulated, because that's your brain on politics. So if you're interested, you want to learn more, share, and follow, and we'll have more coming up with your brain on politics. See you next time.